Hello, I would like to welcome you to our presentation. My name is Sarah Hacke. Together with Paul Kramer and Bianca Steiner, we have come up with a solution to help patients with chronic pain. The title of our work is A Mobile Health Application to Enhance Self-Management Skills of Patients with Shoulder Impingement Syndrome During Rehabilitation. Paul and I would like to present you our approach in detail and show our solution to help patients with chronic pain. As the title already highlighted, we are covering the shoulder impingement syndrome, also called CIS. It is the second most common cause of chronic shoulder pain. CIS is a soft tissue incarceration within the shoulder joint. It is very painful, and the everyday life of the patient is restricted due to this. This is understandable when you consider that the shoulder is the most mobile joint in the body, and it's used for many motions every day. And there's something else important when we talk about CIS. Its treatment implies a long healing process, whether in the conservative approach with physiotherapy or concerning the rehabilitation phase after a surgery. So no matter which way a patient goes, he has in any case a long rehabilitation phase. Unfortunately, there is not the one thing that every patient needs to do to get well quickly. The healing process is very individual, and each patient needs different measures during rehabilitation. Therapists and doctors can support the healing process, but the overall process has to be managed by the patients themselves. So the most important thing for the rehabilitation success is the good disease self-management of the patient. So what exactly does the self-management mean? It means making informed decisions, taking personal responsibility for the healing process, and it is affecting all areas of life. The last 2 points are the major aspects of self-management. For some patients, it is enough to do regular and constant movement exercises. But for many patients, completely different factors are relevant. For example, how much stress they have and how well they can cope with it. These factors, which may seem unusual at first glance, are what makes the patient's participation essential. What are the main challenges resulting from this? We have a long-term rehabilitation process, which requires a long-term motivation of the patient. And all areas of life are affected, which requires an always available solution that implements a holistic approach. We all live in a society in which nearly everyone has a smartphone, and it is always available. So our goal was the conception and prototypical implementation of a mobile health app. To address the main challenges, only 2 questions remain. How can we enhance the self-management skills of the patients, and how can we maintain their motivation? In order to find out, we have used various methods. First, we analyzed the market by taking a detailed look at the existing mobile health apps. For that, we did an app search in the German Apple App Store using search terms related to CIS, as you can see on the slide. Only 3 apps in the health category were considered. Plus, to ensure a minimum level of quality, only apps with a user rating of at least 4 stars were included. The market analysis was very helpful to get an overview. We found that there are only few apps that meet the mentioned criteria. In total, only 5 apps were found, of which only 2 had potentially relevant functions. Since the result of the market analysis were insufficient, 3 additional apps were included, which were considered in a systematic analysis on shoulder rehabilitation apps. With the market analysis, we verified that there is actually no app that offers holistic rehabilitation support, especially for CIS patients. There were a few apps with interesting features, but each app only covered a subset of areas for successful CIS self-management. In addition to the market analysis, we did a qualitative study to understand the professional perspective as well as the patient perspective. For this, we did semi-structured guided interviews with 3 CIS therapists and 6 patients. In the interviews, we asked mostly open questions about the self-management status quo, the knowledge and motivation of the patients, and ideas for improvement. Here you see a few questions we asked the participants. Do you have a sense of acceptance towards your disease? Have you worked out health goals with a therapist? And do the patients follow the necessary measures for the long term? And how could the self-management of the patients be improved? The market analysis helped us to identify 8 potentially useful app functions. From the interview transcripts we have made, we could derive 17 concrete app functions using a category-guided text analysis. 7 of these were approved by both methods. So in total, we found 18 potentially useful app functions. Afterwards, we had to find out how helpful these identified app functions really are for SIS patients. So we conducted a survey among all interview participants to validate them. The participants were asked to rate the identified app functions according to their subjective usefulness as a function of a self-management app for shoulder conditions. The rating scale for the app functions included 4 response options from not helpful at all to very helpful. Any function with a mean rating of 2.5 was considered as sufficiently helpful. And now Paul will take over to present the prototype we implemented.
We will analyze the prototype on the basis of 3 questions. These questions are answered for the views home, information, training, and journal respectively. First, we describe how the user interface is constructed. The design decisions are explained. Secondly, we discuss which functionalities the respective view must contain. Thirdly, the benefit for the user is highlighted on the basis of these results. Our results are described by the example of a fictive user. We have generated this person ourselves. Stephen Huffington is 72 years old and suffers from shoulder impingement syndrome. The treatment of his condition includes regular shoulder exercises. Now, Stephen is looking for an app that supports his treatment progress and motivates him further. But how can the Cisco M Health app help him and his individual needs? After successful registration, Stephen can log in with his email address and password. The home view then opens. In the upper section, there is a welcome message with a personalized text. For example, "Hello Stephen, nice to see you today. You last opened the app on 19th January 2020. He can see a motivational message and his progress in the middle section. By collecting experience points in the quiz, training, journal, and daily challenges areas, he can increase his score in the respective area. In the lower section are the daily tasks to be completed. By clicking on the checkboxes, an individual challenge is marked as completed. An example challenge could be add an entry to your journal. In order to generate this view, various functionalities are required. A user account must be created so that Stephen receives a personalized message and his progress is saved. This also requires a badges and points system. In the same way, sections must be provided that store individual content and display daily challenges. But what are the advantages for Stephen in his therapy process? On the one hand, motivation and emotional connection are strengthened. With the personalized information, his treatment progress can be displayed at any time. On the other hand, points are collected by completing challenges. These gamification elements motivate Stephen to use the application regularly. Let's move on to another possible use of this application. The information view can be selected via the menu. It is divided into the following section: clinical picture, therapy option, and legal situation. Stephen has the opportunity to learn background knowledge about the individual topics. Each unit is concluded with a quiz. Only when the quiz has been completed is the next unit unlocked. For the correct answer, he also receives experience points that increase his progress in the quiz area. This way, Stephen is not overwhelmed and can receive information step by step. The virtual therapist Dr. Cisco guides Stephen through the various units. To give Stephen the opportunity to learn background knowledge, the functionality of the personal advisor is necessary. Dr. Cisco asks the questions and personalizes the learning experience by addressing the user directly. This adds a social component to the application without direct social interaction. Stephen is motivated by this approach to acquire background knowledge on his own. This happens mainly through the gamification elements, such as the virtual therapist or the final quiz of each unit. In the same way, knowledge about the disease of shoulder impingement syndrome is deepened. This supports the success of the therapy, as Stephen is informed about the relevance of the regular exercises. He can also use the app to document his training. For this purpose, he has an overview of the current training plan in the training view. The upper section contains information, for example training days and difficulty. The middle section contains the individual days with the corresponding training units. The application must have various functions. Training exercises and relaxation exercises must be stored. Furthermore, it is necessary that information about the individual training plan is also stored. The advantages for Stephen are as follows. He gets an overview, for example, of the training period and difficulty of the training plan. As a result, he knows which exercises he has to do every day. The increasing difficulty level also makes the progress visible. In the same way, he can also create individual training plans. Thus, he can replace exercises that were too difficult or painful. It is important to respond to the individual circumstances of the patient. Therefore, Stephen can document his personal experience with the treatment process in the journal view. Questions are asked about, for example, current motivation or pain during the exercises. The answers are given with the help of the Likert scale. The current date is displayed in the upper section. In the middle section, Stephen can answer various questions. For this, the application only needs to have the functionality to use information from the self-management test. Stephen can use this view to document his sensations during the treatment. This makes it possible to make adjustment to the plan or offer further support. He can also motivate himself on difficult days through his own entries and thoughts. At the same time, an overview of the current status is given. This makes possible weak points of the current plan recognizable. In summary, the Cisco M Health app offers the following benefits. The application offers holistic supports to patients in self-management during rehabilitation. The user receives valuable information about shoulder impingement syndrome, can document the training and their own feeling about it. The gamification elements motivate the user to use the application regularly and over a long period of time. This includes the daily challenges and the visualized progress. The current treatment status becomes clear and the upcoming exercises can be viewed. The application has the following functions. Training and relaxation plans can be created and carried out. Background information on the disease and treatment can be found. New challenges can be completed every day. And finally, journal entries can be created using a self-assessment test. But before the application can be used in practice, a few steps are still missing. A concept for data security and data protection must be developed. In addition, further essential functionalities have to be implemented, such as contacting the treating therapist. And finally, the usability and user acceptance must be examined in pilot study. Here's a list of our sources. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, you can contact us at these email addresses.